As you look across modern-day Rome, the cityscape is still punctuated with the ancient past. A time when Caesars ruled and the empire stood for centuries as the most advanced and powerful kingdom the world had ever known. But during the first century, in the heart of Rome's golden age, there's a movement growing underneath the surface. A movement of people proclaiming a new king, a better kingdom than Rome. In 57 AD, just a couple decades after the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, the Apostle Paul sent this letter to a young church in Rome. That letter has become one of the most powerful and influential writings, not only in Christian tradition, but in all of Western literature. It's impossible to quantify the impact of this letter on our faith and on our world, beginning with its original audience and stretching through all of church history to today. The church father, St. Augustine, was brought to conviction and conversion to the faith from reading only 2 of its verses. Martin Luther described it as truly the purest gospel. Reading Luther's commentary on Romans, John Wesley was brought to salvation and went on to lead one of the greatest 18th century revivals. In modern times, untold numbers of people have been led to follow Christ because of the Romans road. And almost 2,000 years after its writing, we still marvel at the depth of its teaching on God's great salvation offered to all men. Yet, to its original audience, it was not this epic literary work of great scope and influence. It was a handwritten letter from someone that very few of them have ever met. Because Paul had never been to Rome at this point. Still, the apostle's voice would have been admired and his message is worthy of hearing. Like the city of Rome now and then, the church there would have been cosmopolitan, made up of people with a variety of backgrounds and creeds and ethnicities, Jews and Gentiles alike. So Paul's theme, gospel and law, the significance of righteousness by faith, and the role of Israel imply that there's probably some significant tensions between the Jews and the Gentiles. So Paul wrote this letter to lead them back to unity in the true gospel that he preached, to a missional unity that flows from the glory of God. So Paul's primary focus for the book is salvation. He did not spend time on the doctrine of Christ as in Colossians, or the doctrines of the church as in Ephesians, or the last things as in Thessalonians. He simply wanted them to see the universal need of salvation and how the purity of the gospel spoke to the issues that divided them. What we are left with is a masterwork of doctrine and practical Christian living that grows in its depth and glory with every new reading. Over the next 8 months, we're assuming the task of walking through this immense work verse by verse so that we can explore its depths with a greater intent, understanding our faith in greater ways, and to see the glories of our salvation in a brighter light. I know it's a monumental undertaking, but I believe for us it'll be a life-changing one. As the reformer John Calvin wrote, when anyone gains a knowledge of this epistle, he has an entrance open to him to all the most hidden treasures of scriptures. So I want to personally invite you to join us as we search for those treasures. This is going to be a journey through Paul's letter to the Romans, how the gospel, it shapes our Christian life and it fuels our gospel mission.